International Podcast Day. Well, there's the thing. I didn't even realise there was such a day as International Podcast Day until I heard it on BBC Radio 2. That's quite ironic because I was planning on doing a video which was podcast related. The whole idea of this video was to give you an idea on how you can set up your own podcast really cheap. And obviously the cheapest way is probably the device that's in your pocket at the moment, which will be either an iPhone or Android, whatever phone you've got. Just go to the Play Store and download Rode Reporter. And automatically you've got your own audio recorder. You've got a fairly decent mic built into your phone, probably more than sufficient to do a podcast. But ultimately, there are other ways that we can record audio, and trust me, I've spent a lot of money over the years on buying different bits of kit, and the particular kit I'm using at the moment is the Focusrite 2i2 with the accompanied mic that I think it shipped with it in a package at one point. I'm not sure what the model of the mic is, but what you're listening to now is this mic in front of me with the Focusrite 2i2 with a simple XLR lead that's hooking it up, and then a USB lead which is going over to my Mac. And you can see there that Audacity is running on the screen. It's a great tool for recording audio and also for cleaning up audio as well, because sometimes we have unwanted background noise, and there's all sorts of things that Audacity can actually do to clean up your audio ready for your podcast upload. And then when it comes to uploading a podcast, there are very simple ways of doing it. There is a system which was formerly known as Anchor, which I think is now called Spotify for podcasters. I'll put the link in the description below. But basically you just set up an account, and then once you've recorded your podcast, you simply upload the audio file to it, and bosh, it's on Spotify. It's as easy as that. It's insanely easy to do. So if you are thinking about setting up a podcast and you don't really know how you're going to get your podcast out there, then I'll put the link in the description below. As again, I think it's called Spotify for podcasters, but it's literally create an episode and drag and drop your audio file into it, and that's it. It's on Spotify and everyone can listen and enjoy. But going back to setting up your own podcast, yes, there are several ways that you can record your own podcast. You could use your mobile phone, you could use handheld audio recorders. There's plenty of things like Zoom H1s, I think they are. They're little handheld audio recording mics. Pretty good. I used to own one. And then at the moment, what I'm using is the Tascam Mixcast 4. This is kind of probably a cheaper version of the Rodecaster Pros, which are pretty good mixers. But in all honesty, my experience of the first Rodecaster Pro wasn't all that great. I wasn't over keen on what I was getting out of it as far as audio quality. And I've gone with this particular Tascam Mixcast 4, accompanied with the Rode Pod mic. It's the original Pod mic, it's not the new one. The new one has a USB interface, which ultimately could replace all this. You just need to buy the Rode Pod mic USB, hook it straight into your computer, connect it up with Audacity, and bosh, it's literally one mic, one lead. And that's what I mean by the fact that recording podcasts these days is just getting easier and easier. This comes with 4 mic inputs, 4 XLR mic inputs, which I think has got a quarter jack as well on the back of it. It's also got the USB channel, so I can bring in the audio from my computer. It's also got a phone channel, so you can literally just plug or an MP3 player straight into it. It's also got the Bluetooth option, so if you wanted to do phone-in calls on your podcast, you can do it on that. And then there's the sound pads, which are also great, so you can actually preload your own jingles into it. For example,
The Matt Chamberlain Podcast Show, a podcast show about virtually anything.
I don't know if you're going to really hear that because it's in the background on my studio speakers here. But yeah, the Mixcast 4 with the Rode Pod mic, honestly, it's a great little addition to my desk here. It's a fantastic bit of kit, and of course, it's much cheaper than the Rodecaster equivalent. So yeah, if you're in the market for one and you've got the money and, that's your kind of jazz, and you're looking at setting up a podcast, which potentially you could have 4 mics straight up off it, the Tascam Mixcast 4, I'd highly recommend. So that is pretty much it for this particular video. Hope you've enjoyed watching it. If you have, give it a thumbs up, maybe drop us a comment. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you around. Bye-bye for now.